Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the Redline Racing League last Sunday's Division 3. It's 1 hour of Alsace Village. Again, all drivers have to use all 3 of the 4 available tire compounds. And unlike Nürburgring using the Group 3 cars, we are using the Group 4s. So here is the starting grid. On pole in the Mercedes AMG on the softs, it's Clive. In P2 in an Aston Martin Vantage on the Super Softs, Jara. In third position in the first of the BMW M4s on the Super Softs, Stealth Hypes. In fourth position, his teammate JCS. In fifth position, Rob Smith driving the Porsche Cayman on the soft compound. In sixth position, we see H656, also in a Cayman, this time on the Super Softs. Seventh position, in the Subaru WRX, it's New Davy on the Super Softs. In eighth position, John Leo driving the Aston Martin Vantage on Super Softs. In P9, RRL Martin in a Vantage on the Softs. In the top 10, the first of the Vipers, it's Jeff Borrow, starting on the mediums. P11, Jeff's teammate Jordy, also on the mediums. In 12th position, we see Captain Dan driving the BMW M4, starting on the mediums. And running out your field in 13th in the Mercedes AMG, it's Pete, starting on the hards. And that is your starting grid here at Alsace Village. Alright, it was a grid start with a false check. And for the most part, everyone's getting away pretty cleanly. Clive pulling out to a small lead. Nice to see him out front after a very tough Nordschleife visit. As we see a little bit further back, Jara trying to get ahead of Stealth Hypes for that second position. Unfortunately though, goes a bit wide, gets bumped off, and goes from potential third place down the field. A little bit further back, John Leo going a little bit wide, heading towards the bowl curve. Able to hold it together though. And bad goes to worse for Jara, running a bit wide, putting down the power, and as we know here, once you get in the grass, you lose your traction, and that can send you around. Alright, checking out this epic 7-way battle for the lead here on lap 3. As Rob Smith unfortunately gets into one of the BMWs of JCS, and that caused him to lose all of his momentum, tries to get back on the power, losing that grip. Dropping back to 10th. Now your leader, lap 3, Clive, goes a bit wide. Is able to hold it together. However, that hands the lead over to the BMW M4 of Stealth Hypes. New Davy going to look up the inside and taking second position. However, Clive again goes a bit wide, loses the traction, and at that point you're just a passenger. And unfortunately, after starting on pole, leading a few laps, Clive drops back to 11th. All right, end of lap 3. Heated battle between a BMW and a Subaru. It's Stealth Hypes and New Davy going at it for that first spot. Stealth Hypes, though, misses the braking spot, dropping back to second. Somehow holds it together. However, that's going to bring John Leo, JCS, and H656 into the mix for that scramble for P2. Alright, here on lap 4, really good battle between Rob Smith and Martin. Check this out, around the outside. A lot of respect there as Rob noticed he was about to get past, lifted a bit. Some good sportsmanship there. Really, really good, exciting battle to watch as we start lap 5. Alright, halfway through lap 5 as JCS sitting in P4. but unfortunately gets a bit wide, loses it. That BMW is very tough, especially when it comes to the front tire wear and finding that grip. So we ride on board. Rob Smith still in a scuffle with Martin. Martin gets a bit wide. Rob takes advantage of that, making the pass, heading towards the bull curve. And that's 7th position right there. Alright, once again, Martin taking a look. Finding a lot of use of the outside line. That Vantage certainly has quite a bit of grip early on. And the first of our drivers to pit, it's Jeff in the Viper. Quite a start for Jeff. Started back in P10, already up to 5th position. However, starting on the mediums, getting those out of the way, and going to go ahead and go to the softer compounds. Go ahead and fill up the tank all the way. Alright, so it's a full tank and the super soft, or the racing soft compound for Jeff. Really good battle for the lead. Top 3 are glued as New Davy has the lead from Stealth Hypes and John Leo. 4th spot, H656 runs a bit wide in the slower section and unfortunately goes wide, dropping back to 6th. Handing P4 up to Jordy, right ahead of Rob Smith. Viper ahead of the 2 Porsches. Martin, despite a couple incidents early on, sitting in 7th place. And how about Captain Dan? We didn't see Captain Dan at the Nordschleife. Started 12th, was on the mediums. He's up to P8. Well done, mate. Cycle through the grid. After 6 laps on the mediums, Jordy gonna opt to come into the pits. So the Vipers, what a different strategy coming in so early. Then again, both starting on the medium compounds. Who knows how that will play out as the race goes on. After all, we're only 13 minutes into this 1 hour long race. Jordy coming out of the pits, right of his teammate Jeff. Vipers in 8th and 9th. H656 onto the mediums. Alright, starting lap 8. Alright, Captain Dan taking off those mediums. That's 1 tire compound out of the way. Another driver we didn't see at the Nordschleife, Pete, having an alright run so far. After all, it is a long race. As you'll notice on the top left side of the screen, there's only 12 runners. We've already had, unfortunately, 1 DNF. After some very, very tough luck, the Aston Martin Vantage, unfortunately, will not finish this competition. Mercedes having a bit of a struggle right now as Clive actually has some engine damage after ending up in the wall, unfortunately. But nonetheless, they are hanging in there. Really good battle for 2nd position. Riding on board with John Leo. Stealth Hypes goes a bit wide in that BMW M4, and John Leo inherits the 2nd position right behind New Davy. As we take a look from a different angle, already a quarter of the way through this race. It's a really, really good battle for 2nd spot. Yeah, but unfortunately, Stealth Hypes, with the tire wear, loss of traction a bit, misses the braking spot. And no surprise there, will come into the pits, changing off those used super soft tires. and opting not to take fuel, switching to the mediums. So quite an interesting strat, as we've seen some other drivers come in, fill up the tank all the way, lose a couple of positions that way. Stealth Hype's opting to, who knows, maybe just do 1 or 2 laps on those mediums. But coming out right ahead of Rob Smith. End of lap 8, the other BMW M4 in the pits. However, JCS is going to be taking some fuel. And quite a bit, may I add. So the BMW strat is to go on to the mediums relatively early on, and unfortunately at the exit of turn 1, JCS on cold tires gets a bit squirrely. Alright, heading up the hill. The battle is on for P1. Subaru WRX versus Aston Martin Vantage. Davey versus John. Unbelievable. With a similar move that Martin made earlier on, oddly enough in the Aston Martin, John Leo does the same style of move to briefly take the lead. However, John opts, you know what? I'm going to come to the pits. After all, New Davey is on used Super Softs, and the Super WRX does tend to struggle a bit with the front grip. Clive into the pits. And early on, opting to switch from the softs to the Super Softs. JCS getting some big air off track. Certainly having a difficult time. The BMW M4 is a very tricky car, as is the AMG for this particular track. Your leader, end of lap 10, into the pits. That's Super WRX of New Davey. And by pitting, that's going to allow Rob Smith. Rob Smith started back in P5 and is doing a very nice job on the racing softs, making them last longer than any of the other drivers on track, and therefore inherits the lead. Jordy into P2. John will be in P3. And New Davey in 4th. So after 11 laps, extending those soft tires beyond what others have done so far, Rob Smith comes into the pits. And that's going to allow Jordy in the Viper. Jordy started back in 11th position. He's your leader. Ahead of John Leo. Another driver who started well down the order back in P8 is 2nd. New Davey into 3rd. Jeff in 4th. Rob Smith 5th. Stealth Pipes recovering in 6th position. H656 in 7th. Captain Dan in 8th. RRL Martin in 9th, with JCS running out your top 10 so far. Jordy, your leader. Not the first time the leader has binned it, and that's actually in a similar spot to where Clive binned it earlier on in the race. Unfortunately, at the bowl, you get a little bit wide, and it's very tough to try and hit the apex. So sometimes if you put the power down thinking, you know what, I'm going to carry as much speed as I can, unfortunately, it's very easy to catch the grass, and at that point, you're just a passenger. So, unsurprisingly, end of this lap, Jordy comes into the pits. It's going to go ahead and change the strategy just a little bit. Fill up the tank, and Jordy comes out in P7. Really good battle for that 3rd position, as we're almost halfway through this competition. Oh, and unfortunately, after having so much momentum, Martin ends up spinning. H656 ends up going wide, allowing Jardy to just catch up, get side by side into the barrel. Those two end up making some light contact. Jordy is able to hold it together, which is rather impressive considering that Viper is pretty twitchy, especially when going off track and losing grip. H656 ends up losing it, and Jardy somehow is able to take 6th position. Had a Captain Dan who's doing a very nice job in that BMW. Captain Dan, end of lap 14, coming off the medium compounds. So Captain Dan ended up doing, I believe it was 2 stints on the mediums. Gonna go ahead and fill up that tank. BMW notorious, certainly not the best car for fuel saving. So yep, filling up the tank to max. And actually didn't even switch tires. So that's an interesting strat. The first of the drivers not to change tires during a pit stop. As Pete pitting from P10, that's going to hand over the 10th spot to the other of the 2 Mercedes AMGs of Clive. Pete going to exit in 11th position, right ahead of GCS. From one BMW to the next. Taking a look at Stealth Hypes at P5. Trying to track down that Viper of Jeff Borrow. So we're more than halfway through this endurance race. Still a really good battle going on for that 3rd position. Notice that Jeff Borrow has the blinker on. I think that's signaling he's about to pit. And yes, that is the case. Giving up the 4th spot. Perhaps gonna go ahead and fill up the tank as much as possible. After all, we still have about 28, 29 minutes left in this event. And that is the case on the Super Sauce, filling up the tank about a little over 90%. All right, end of lap 18. Your leader, John Leo, coming into the pits. Go ahead and maybe take off those racing soft tires. That's going to allow New Davy. So Subaru, after almost 38 minutes, has the lead. New Davy started back in the 7th position, doing a very nice job coming up through the field. Another driver that we've seen a lot of action from, Rob Smith, currently on the mediums, but he's inherited 2nd spot. John Leo exits the pits, going to use those mediums up now. In 3rd, Jardy Boy, despite a few incidents, still sitting in 4th. Stealth Hypes in the pits. Was in P5, going to allow Martin in the Vantage. Martin in the Aston Martin to take 5th spot, right ahead of Jeff. As those two go side by side, coming up the hill under the Alsace Village banner. And Jeff, using that Viper power in the Super Soft compound, going to go ahead and take the 5th position. As those two duel it out. All right, after lap 20, with just over 18 minutes remaining or so, your leader, New Davy, comes into the pits. Perhaps this might be a final stop. We will see. Rob Smith, done with those mediums. It's time to go to a softer compound now. And that allows Jardy Boy in the Viper to inherit the lead. New Davy coming out on the mediums. about 2 seconds behind. John Leo still has the leaders in his sight, as does Rob Smith in search of a podium. All right, riding on board with Captain Dan in a really good battle with Martin. Martin gonna look up the inside, heading towards turn 1. And that right there is the difference between super soft tires and mediums for the amount of grip to be able to outbrake your opponent. That Aston Martin, though, going to use the power of that V8 engine to stay side by side, and the grip allows Martin to get ahead of Dan for 8th position, as Dan unfortunately gets a little squirrely. Alright, after 21 laps, your leader, Jardy, coming into the pits, as these different strategies are playing out. New Davy still on the mediums, inheriting the lead, just over 15 minutes to go. John Leo in P2, Rob Smith in P3, and the Vipers of Jeff and Jardy in 4th and 5th. H656 Stealth Hypes having a really good battle for P6 as we ride on board with this BMW M4. Slight contact, but nonetheless a really, really good heated battle for this position. Alright, end of lap 22. Alright, Jeff actually going to come into the pits for what should be the final pit stop. New Davy on the mediums, John Leo, however, on the super soft compound and closing in significantly. Rob Smith in P3, ahead of Jardy in 4th. The other Viper of Jeff does come out of the pits in 5th. But we can't relax just yet. You've got H656 and Stealth Pipes breathing down your neck. Oh, and Stealth Pipes, unfortunately, gets a bit wide. It's a very tough day for the BMWs. Right, lap 24. So we're 49 minutes into this race, and that's how close first and second place is right now. New Davies on the mediums, John Leo on the super softs. Nonetheless, they are bumper to bumper. New Davy going to go ahead and park in the apex to defend that position. However, that V8 Aston Martin Vantage has more power and is able to get just ahead of New Davy. However, that doesn't matter. He runs a bit wide, getting into the grass, giving the lead back to New Davy. And so when I first saw this, I was thinking, what was that? Was that retaliation? What just happened here? This is the battle for the lead, you know, with a little over 10 minutes to go. So let's take another angle. So New Davy slightly bumps John Leo, who's on some pretty used tires. New Davy slows down to hand the position back. However, John followed him up the track, and New Davy was so close to the edge that that little light contact pushed him off. And again, you know, we're Alsace Village. This is this is the greener version, I think, of Willow Springs, where it's so easy to go off, and once you go off, the loss of traction is very significant, and it's very easy to spin. Alright, lap 29, bottom left hand side of your screen, we're hitting the 59-minute mark, which means this will be the last lap. So this is the battle for the lead after 59 minutes. Less than a tenth of a second for the lead between John Leo and Rob Smith. New Davy, though, despite all of the controversies, is so far in a position for a podium. Jardy Boy and Jeff, the Vipers, in 4th and 5th. Martin so far in P6. H656 going to come across the line before the hour marker is up, which means can complete one final lap. That's the thing. If you cross the start finish line after the 1 hour mark, that means your race is over. However, if you're able to cross the start finish line before the 1 hour mark, the game will allow you to complete a final lap. JCS, tough day for the BMWs. Will be finishing in 10th position. And also a tough day for the Mercedes AMGs of Pete and Clive. Will finish 11th and 12th. Just a few turns to go. John Leo created a little bit of a gap by about 4/10 at a Rob. And despite all of the action, what an awesome race to watch. So well done to our Redline Racing League Division 3 drivers. Your winner here at Alsace Village, John Leo. In second will be Rob Smith. And rounding out your podium today is New Davy. Well done, mates. 4th position will be Jardy Boy. Jeff Goro going to go ahead and take the 5th spot. Martin going to go ahead and take 6th. H656 will be in 7th. Head of Stealth Hypes in P8. Captain Dan in 9th. JCS in 10th. '11th will be Pete. And 12th will be Clive. And one driver unfortunately having a DNF, that being Jara. So thank you so much for watching. I invite you to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.